Good morning, agents. Welcome to another Division 2 video. I'm PTT, and today we're going to be talking about the Division 2 beta and giving you my overall impressions of the game so far. Now, obviously, this is only a beta, so lots of things are indeed subject to change, but there are a lot of core things that won't change that I do indeed want to talk about. So, yeah, strap in, agents, and let's get on with it. I'm going to start off with the worlds then, because that's really the first thing you are greeted with, and well, what can I say besides it is totally beautiful. The dev team have done a fantastic job bringing Washington into a video game on a one-to-one scale, and the hard work is really visible when you just start roaming around the free world. Sure, there are a few visual bugs present, but it's a beta, so I can look past them and see the world for what it is. A beautiful but devastated place that is a drastic change from the snowy streets of New York. Now, obviously, we have only experienced a small section of the map, but overall I love it and I can't wait to explore more. Moving on then, let's talk about something I know has been a community griping point for a long time now, and that is the movement. Now, overall, I have to say I like it personally, and I'm not entirely sure why so many people don't. Yes, there are a few things to sort out, but the overall feeling is very good. Now, I will go on to be specific later in the video about what I would like to see change in the game, but right now, for the first half of the video at least, I would like to focus on the positives, and yeah, to just sum it up, I don't really have too many problems with the overall movement of the game. You can move very fluently around the map, hop in and out of cover when and where needed, and yeah, that's kind of it, guys, so let's just move on. Next, I want to talk about the weapons because, oh my god, has Tylander and his team done a great job at changing up the gunplay in this game. The Division 1's weapons felt pretty bad. The recoil was all over the place and not what you would experience with a real life version of the weapon. The reticle boom was terrible and the sounds weren't exactly great either. But with the Division 2, Frederick and his team have broken down every weapon back to their core and revamped the system from top to bottom. Now when you fire a weapon, the initial kick is very high and hard, but becomes more controllable over time and basically acts like a real weapon would do when being fired. The sound of each weapon are fantastic, and I know because I've been lucky enough to have the conversation with Frederick that the team went out to go hands-on with every type of weapon that is in the game and recorded real sounds. They had real input to weapon control because of hands-on experience, and you can just tell all of this when you're in game because of how great they feel to use. Now, I have to admit, I'm not a great fan of the scoping system on these snipers, but I do get why they made this change, so I'm happy to live with it for the sake of balance and fairness. Overall, guys, on the weapon front, I'm very happy and can't wait to get hands-on with all of the endgame weapons and start working out what are better weapons to use for various activities in the endgame. Now, of course, as always, I would love to know what you guys think about the new weapons in the comment section down below. Moving on then to the new skill system. As we know, most of the skills now require more player input and are less fire and forget. And for the most part, I'm really happy with that. There are a few changes I think need to happen to either make some skills more viable by either tweaking damage and blast radius, etc., or having a little less player input. But overall, the skills do feel really nice. For me, it was all about the turret and the seeker mine, but I also saw a lot of the drone inside the dark zone and skirmish, but I think I will do a separate video on this topic somewhere down the line when we see how they act in the endgame. Because, as with everything anyone is saying right now, we have to remember that our agents are only level 7 in blue and green gear, so it's not really fair to assume that the skills will act the same way when our builds are of endgame quality. Now, I will say that skills are extremely useful in game. Now you have to spend nearly all of your time in cover, and yeah, it's one of them. You may need to adapt to using them, but it really does help change the game up a little bit from what we had in the Division 1. So overall, yeah, I'm very happy. Next then, let's talk about the new cover system and health versus damage, because I think it's a really good talking point right now, as it's probably the biggest change to the game from the Division 1. So let's start off with the damage you take. I've seen a lot of people talking about how hard the enemies seem to hit and that they think it's a little bit too hard. So let me just say a few things on this. 1. Again, we're level 7 and we are in pretty crappy gear. And 2, if you actually pay attention to what's going on in game when you're taking mass damage, it's not exactly that the enemy hit way harder, but more of the enemy shoot you when you're out of cover. Now, yes, I'm sure there is an element of their damage output being increased, but again, due to having had conversations with the dev team, I know a little bit about how the AI has changed, and now they're a hell of a lot smarter, and if you're out of cover, then they will focus fire you just like we, the players, focus the AI when one of them runs out of cover. Now, this obviously gives the impression that they hit way harder than what they did in the first game, but on a separate note, if you go back to play the Division 1 and play the initial level 1 to 30 game again, you will notice they hit just as hard, and I would really implore you guys to hold fire a little bit and wait until we get to the main game, and specifically end game, before calling out for changes on this front, because I don't actually think it will be as much of an issue come the end game as it is now at low level. Overall, I think it's a great change that we now have smarter AI that will focus their fire on an agent out of cover. I think it's great they move around and will flank you to get you down, and yeah, overall, I just like the changes. Now, whether or not there will need to be changes made to their damage output or health pool does remain to be seen, because you can't really judge it until we all hit level 30 in the main game and start playing with builds and things like that. But I think the dev team have proven they don't want a situation where we go back to the Division 1's 1.3 style, so I'm confident that if changes do need to be made, they will do so and do it very quickly. Right, let's move on to the new Dark Zone then. And yes, I know we can only talk about one DZ and not the others, so this is a limited viewpoint at the moment. But yeah, wow. I love jumping into the new Dark Zone. Playing the PvE there feels great, but the PvP is something else too. With the new times to kill, it makes cover and team tactics a must and really changes up the way we play, and I personally think it's a great change. Myself and my team went into the DZ for a few hours the other night and we won a few manhunts. We died a lot, we were successful a lot. Bottom line is that we had fun through all of it, and that's really cool, because for a few of us, the Division 1's Dark Zone had become extremely stale and boring and unbalanced, and to have that enjoyment come back for us was something we really needed going forward. Again, when you roll everything up, the experience inside the Dark Zone, be it PvP or PvE, is great, and it makes a DZ feel like a place I want to visit more, and I'm sure I'll be spending a lot more time in there come launch. Now, this is a topic, again, I would love to get your feedback on, guys, so please hit me up in the comment section down below and let me know what you think. Finally then, before we jump onto my constructive feedback, let's look at Skirmish. Skirmish is obviously the dedicated PvP mode, and while we're limited to one map and one mode, I have to say I really enjoyed it. Less hectic for the most part, but can be super intense. The team play is something that is strongly emphasised upon here, and a single solo Rambo player can have disastrous repercussions for the whole team. Now, due to gear balancing issues in the Division 1, I didn't play too much PvP after Predmark and Striker Class C came out, but I really see myself playing a lot more of the PvP in the Division 2, be that in the Dark Zone or in the Conflict mode, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the other maps and modes look like at launch. So, we've now covered the weapons, the worlds, the movement, the AI, the DZ, Skirmish, and yeah, overall I have good feelings about them all. But there are a few things I want to talk about that are concerning, and a few things I personally would like to see change, so let's jump into those now. Let's start off on the movement front then, because while I like it overall, I really am not a fan of the sprint speed. It feels extremely slow and not very different to the non-sprint speed, and with the world being a 1-to-1 and being so big, it makes traversing the map feel extremely slow and tedious. So yeah, I would like to see this turned up a little bit. I'm not saying make it crazy, but a little increase would be nice, or make it so we can stow all weapons and then run a bit quicker. Either or would be nice, just let me run a little bit faster. Onto the weapon front then, again overall a lover of all the changes, but I feel the new mod system may be a bit penalising in terms of negative stats. So for those who don't know, the new mod system is this. Every mod has a positive stat boost that will increase something, but also has a negative one with it too. Now, in my opinion, the negative stats are way too harsh and make it extremely hard to really give any boosts. As an example, one mod may increase stability by 15%, but another will reduce it by 15%. So you get to a point where sometimes it's better to add no mods because of the negative effects that they have. Now, I'm not saying take negative stats away, because I actually really like the idea of having trade-offs, but I do think they need to be tweaked a little. Other than that, I have no other changes that I can think of right now on the weapons thus far. Next then, I want to go back to skills. As I said, some are very good and some need a bit of a tweak in my opinion. I'm going to start off with the turret because I think the range on it is absolutely absurd. I had my turret shooting at targets that were so far away I couldn't hit them with my normal weapon, but the turret would detect them and start firing at them. This needs to be looked at in my opinion. I like that it's powerful, but I think possibly the range needs to be reduced a tad. The drone then is a great little skill, but in PvP becomes a real annoyance with such a low hitbox to hit and destroy. I would like to see this have a little bit of a bigger hit area and make it a tad easier to destroy. The Seeker Mine, I would like to see a minor change to the player input. Currently you select where you want the Seeker to head to, but if the enemy moves from that spot, it's wasted. I would personally like to see that if you select an area and a target is in that area and moves last minute, the Seeker Mine follows them a small distance so it doesn't waste the deployment of it. Again, a personal opinion, but I wasted my Seeker so many times just in the PvE. It's just one of them I think should be looked at a little bit. And yeah, for now, that's it. Obviously, I will have more feedback on skills that we couldn't try in the beta later down the line, so stay tuned for that one soon. The Dark Zone next then, let's get this out there. I love the fact that there are turrets defending the checkpoints, but I would like to see a bigger and clearer map marker that we're heading into a checkpoint when manhunt, rogue, things like that. As an example, I was on a manhunt with my team and we were running to a station to get rid of it and accidentally ran straight into the line of fire of a turret, and because they have a high range set to them, we were insta-killed before we even knew what was going on. We couldn't even see on the mini-map that we were near a checkpoint, so yeah, I would like to see a bigger indication that we're heading into one of these areas so we can change direction before we get killed. Other than that, you know, I'm pretty happy. And finally guys, let's go over the host of bugs that are in game. Now, I'm not going to cover all of them. You know, I will personally send a message to the dev team with the list of bugs that I have found and clips like that to show them. Yes, it's a beta, and yes, there will be a lot of bugs. New bugs that have come up, I have every faith that the team will fix quickly, but seeing bugs return from the Division 1 that were never fixed has me really concerned that something in the game engine or development cycle isn't working as intended. There's no way in hell we should have 3-year-old bugs in a brand new game that is only a few weeks from launch. Now, for all the people out there that want to jump on the bandwagon here and be like, oh, it's a beta, they will fix it, don't judge a beta based on the bugs, there's going to be bugs in a beta. Wake up, guys. I love the dev team, I know they work super hard and I have every faith in them. But these bugs have remained unfixed for 3 years and they're back in this game. That says something is fundamentally not working as intended, and you can safely assume that they won't get fixed for launch in this game either. I say this because if they could be fixed, they would have done so by now. The development team know this community very well by now, and they know full well that people would jump on the fact these bugs are back, and if they could eliminate the bugs, they would have. So the fact that they're back isn't a good thing. Now, will this stop me playing the game? Hell no. I can't wait to play the game, even knowing that these bugs are present, but I do think something in the system needs to be looked at when they're returning Day 1 Division 1 issues being brought into a new game. And yeah, look, that's my little rant, guys. As I said, I love the game. I will play the shit out of this come launch. I can't wait to lose my time between this and Anthem, but some things do need to be said and not just kept quiet. Anyway, look, that's my beta impressions done with. Overall, I absolutely love it and I had a blast. I have every faith the game will be amazing and improve over time. I'm excited to get into raids and builds and PvP and have a lot of time having fun with friends while saving DC. I would, as always, love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch the video. Have a great day, and until the next one, I'll catch you all soon.